E aí pessoal, hoje vamos falar sobre Thomas Sowell, um economista que ainda não é muito conhecido no Brasil, mas que ele é muito relevante no movimento conservador na direita americana.
People say, you're a very tough person. I'm not tough. Life is tough. I'm merely trying to acquaint you with those facts.
3 grandes motivos para conhecer um pouco mais de Thomas Sowell. Ele era negro, mas mostrava como essas políticas raciais de cota acabavam prejudicando ainda mais os negros. Ele era marxista no início da carreira e se converteu depois de já ser economista. Terceiro, ele mostra com evidências como muitas políticas públicas acabam causando um efeito oposto daquilo que prometeram. Sowell teve uma infância muito humilde, ele ficou órfão muito cedo, nasceu na Carolina do Norte, mas se criou no Harlem, em Nova York, serviu a Marinha, fez grandes universidades, estudou em Harvard, na Universidade de Chicago, em Columbia, em Stanford e deu aula em diversas outras renomadas também. Apesar dele ser muito difundido no meio conservador, ainda tem um universo de pessoas que não conhecem o Sowell.
Is from Thomas Sowell, who to me is one of the greatest modern thinkers.
A questão racial com certeza foi algo que marcou a sua carreira. A gente sabe que a esquerda acaba descredibilizando se você é um branco falando sobre política de cotas ou raciais, mesmo você tendo conhecimento e autoridade no assunto, eles acabam ignorando e te diminuindo porque você não tem lugar de fala. Mas aí vem o Thomas Sowell e abusa do seu lugar de fala. Daí fica difícil calar ele, né?
Slavery has been a universal institution for thousands of years, as far back as you can trace human history. And what we're looking at is if slavery is something that happened to one race of people in one country, when in fact the spread of it was around the world. The number of whites, for example, who were enslaved in North Africa by the Barbary pirates exceeded the number of Africans enslaved in the United States and in the American colonies before that, put together. But nobody is going to North Africa to ask for reparations because nobody is going to be fool enough to give it to them.
E diferente dos economistas e sociólogos convencionais, ele mostra que pior do que a escravidão para os negros nos Estados Unidos foram as políticas assistencialistas que começaram nos anos 60 e 70.
And when they talk about things like this, they talk about the legacy of slavery. Empirically, it's not that, it's the legacy of the welfare state. Because as of 1960, which is almost 100 years after slavery ended, the majority of black kids were being raised in 2-parent households. But within one generation after the welfare state, that had dropped down to a minority. So that the majority of black kids today are raised in 1-parent households. When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the black family. But one generation of the welfare state did.
And again, now I'm trying to recall the statistics, but I believe the out-of-wedlock birth rate among African Americans in 1965 was 25%.
Something like that, yeah.
And he was so alarmed that he wrote this report, and today it's over 70%. And by the way, the rate among whites is over 1/3 at this stage.
Yes, certainly
Economic
this occurred at a time when the black income was rising. And so we're saying that previous generations of blacks with lower income and more racial barriers, the family stuck together under those conditions. And under the new conditions, which were advertised to make for great progress, in fact created retrogressions. And I think many people who were gung-ho for the idea that this was going to be progress simply cannot bring themselves to look at the evidence and say, my God, we made things worse.
E não é só no Brasil que as universidades são dominadas pela esquerda. O próprio Sowell sofreu muito com seus colegas de trabalho. E o Sowell tem uma frase muito boa sobre isso. Da próxima vez que algum acadêmico lhe disser da importância da diversidade, pergunte quantos conservadores há no departamento de sociologia deles.
I have never asked my peers whether they approve.
Why not?
I don't care.
E esse ambiente marxista acabou influenciando o início da carreira dele. Sabe o que converteu ele?
You were a Marxist at one time in your life. Most people will find this hard to believe, but it is true. So then what was your wake up to what was wrong with that line of thinking?
Facts.
Se você conhece o Milton Friedman, o Sowell é da mesma pegada da Escola de Chicago. As políticas públicas devem ser avaliadas pelos seus resultados e não pelas suas intenções.
One of the big problems about the social justice field is that what they say sounds so good. It's only after you study history that you find out just how bad, how horribly it actually turned out.
E se liga nas dicas para você derrubar qualquer projeto de esquerda.
There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And whatever you do to deal with one of man's flaws, it creates another problem. But that you try to get the best trade-off you can get, and that's all you can hope for. I've often said there are three questions that I think would destroy most of the arguments on the left. And the first is, compared to what? The second is, at what cost? And the third is, what hard evidence do you have? Now, there are very few ideas on the left that can pass all three of those kinds of things.
E não importa o quanto a gente demonstre que as políticas de esquerda dão errado, como os políticos não pagam o custo dos seus erros, eles não estão nem aí.
A research scientist is not necessarily an intellectual.
That's right.
An engineer isn't necessarily
right.
intellectual.
That's right. Because the engineer is judged by the end product, which is not simply ideas. If he builds a building that collapses, it doesn't matter how brilliant his idea was, he's ruined. Conversely, if an intellectual who's brilliant has an idea for rearranging society, and that ends in disaster, he pays no price at all.
E aqui nesse vídeo o Sowell destrói aquele discurso paz e amor desarmamentista.
Yes, you can renounce war. That does not stop your neighbor from building up the biggest army in the world and coming in and killing you. It's much like this. It's much like the thinking about gun control. You know, that you say, well, listen, I don't think people should have guns. Hey, I wish people didn't have guns. But the fact is that passing a law does not stop them from having guns. It just makes you defenseless. Right. One of the things I think I mentioned in there in passing is that in Britain, the burglary rate is far higher than in the United States. And moreover, British burglars do not case the place before they go in. Now, if you're in the United States and you're going to bust into someone's house in the middle of the night, you may be met by a hail of bullets. Right. In Britain, they have made burglary a safe occupation.
Se você proíbe armas para as pessoas boas, você só está facilitando a vida dos bandidos. Outra frase que a gente escuta bastante sair da boca dos esquerdistas é que os bilionários são o mal do mundo.
It simply was never put to any test. Now, the test I suggest is a simple one, but it is a test. And if it's true that the rich are rich because they're keeping the poor poor, then in a country with lots of billionaires, you should correspondingly have great amounts of poor people. But if you compare the actual data, there are more billionaires in the United States than in Africa and the Middle East put together. And yet the standard of living of the poor in the United States is higher than that of people in Africa and the Middle East. So by that simple standard, it just doesn't hold up.
There are problems with the theory.
You guys only care about the rich guys. Answer that. How do you respond? Liberal says conservatives only care about rich people.
Well, one of the things I go into in the book is that the whole notion of rich is ridiculous. That most Americans don't stay in the same income bracket, even for one decade. So the same guy who is, quote, rich now was 20 years ago probably in the bottom 20%. I mean, I was on a cruise recently, luxury cruise, and the guy said, you know, if someone had told me when I was growing up that I would end up on a cruise like this, I would have said, get real, man. You know, that very few people are in that same income bracket the whole time. Right. The genuinely rich and the genuinely poor, I would estimate to be no more than 3% of the American people.
Critique o capitalismo quanto se quiser, mas você ascende de vida muito mais fácil no capitalismo do que no socialismo. E a gente não podia terminar essa seleção de vídeos do Sowell sem ele também dar uma no dedo das feministas.
No, I would agree with that, but you would also have to agree that generally speaking, women are paid less, for example, for the same jobs as men.
No, I would not. I would not agree with that. If you're talking about women with the same number of years of experience, with the same continuous service, etc., then when I look at that, I don't find that disparity. I find, for example, in many cases, the women are making more, depending on how you break the data down. The difference with women is between married women and everybody else. That's the real difference.
Well, even as to single women, the Census Bureau statistics, the most recent ones I could find, 1978, say that single men are earning $11,100 and single women are earning $9,300.
Yes, I love the word single that is used. When I did my study, I didn't use single, I used never married. You see, a woman who is single at age 40, having spent 10 or 20 years raising children, is really not quite the same as a man of age 40 who's been working continuously for 20 years.
Para terminar com as citações dele, quero terminar com essa frase muito boa que representa, que mostra que o jovem revolucionário de agora é igual com o de antigamente. A maioria das pessoas que leem o Manifesto Comunista provavelmente não tem ideia de que foi escrito por um par de jovens que nunca havia trabalhado um dia em suas vidas e que, no entanto, falavam corajosamente em nome dos trabalhadores. Assim era com Karl Marx, assim é com os comunistas de hoje em dia. Espero que vocês tenham gostado, que tenha atiçado um pouco a curiosidade e assim vocês vão correr atrás de Sowell. Procurem seus livros, é um livro de fácil entendimento e muito bom, que te dá muitos argumentos para debater com o pessoal de esquerda. Eu já li Os Ungidos, que é muito bom. Ainda não li Conflito de Visões, mas o pessoal fala bem. E ele tem 2 livros sobre raça e cultura, que para quem gosta desse tema também é interessante. Procurem aí na internet que vocês vão encontrar muita coisa. Falou!